Alright, I'm going to show you a little trick. Sometimes these oil pressure sending switches can get pretty hard to get off. So what I've done is I got a little torch here, and if you put too much pressure on this thing, it'll just snap and then you're stuck. So I'm just going to try to heat it up a little bit and try to work it loose. See if I can do that. Hopefully this will work. Just want to be careful because this is kind of right where the gas stuff is, but hopefully it'll break loose without breaking inside the block. Boy, that thing's in there. So maybe what I'll do. You still recording?
Yeah.
Alright. Maybe what I'll do is just try to put this wrench on there, because man, it's just really on there. But I need to get it off so I can clean around it. So hopefully that heating it up will help. It's a little late to be still messing around with this, but see, I can turn it that way. I just can't turn it that way. There it goes. Did you get that on camera? Because that was a pain in the butt. Sometimes you just have to be patient about things and just try not to force it. I have to actually take this out because I want to replace the switch, but I can't take this valve off out of the block to clean this mating surface that I need to clean. I can't do that with that piece in the way. So now that I have that off, I can zip this out of here. So be very, very careful when you do that. If you do it the way I just did it, because this is the fuel lines. You know, it could be a very dangerous situation, but the reason that I had to do that is I needed to get this over here. I need to get this surface right here cleaned off so that I can put the new gasket in. And if I didn't do that, it just, you know, another problem for it to leak. I don't really want that to happen, so that worked pretty good. All right, now that we got everything cleaned out of there, I got a little gasket scraper. Try not to get as much of this crap inside there as you possibly can, but you know, you got to clean it too. So I'm just going to kind of clean this off and try to keep as much of it out there as I can. I'll take a vacuum and I'll vacuum this out too. Just try to break this up. Like I say, those ones were the worst. And then I'll come over this after I get done and hit it with a little ride lock wheel and kind of get the surface cleaned up for the new gasket. This has been a fun job. I mean, I've been working on this, you know, since probably about 12 o'clock. I think it's about 8 right now, so I probably put about 8 hours into it. And it'll probably be about another, I don't know, maybe another 5 or 6 putting it back together. But you know, it's fun, not too stressful. On a scale of 1 to 10 difficulty, probably about a 6 maybe. It's not too tough. There is a lot of stuff you have to take off to replace these intake manifolds, but you know, they do wear out. You know, things like this, you know, take their wear and tear. So, and there's stuff in here that I'll just kind of vacuum it out before I put stuff back together. I just want to kind of break out as much of the crap as I can. And then I'll re-thread these bolts. I'll lube up these bolts and kind of clean out the threads before I put the intake manifold back off. Are you showing the guys what it looks like?
Uh-huh.
That is disgusting. That is what a bad intake manifold gasket looks like.
And bad lighting.
And bad lighting, yeah. So check this out. These 3 right here are for the intake. 1, 2, 3 for this side. 1, 2, 3 for that side. The 2 that I thought were leaking were cylinder 5 and cylinder 1. and they're leaking. Because if you look in here, you can see that they're clean inside. There's no carbon buildup. But I thought that the intake manifold itself, I thought that it only let coolant or only let intake gases come through it, like fuel and air mixture. Come to find out, the two outer ports on here, on the head, right here, here, and in the front, that's where the coolant flows. That coolant comes, you got me all confused. You're doing so good recording me. So yeah, that's what the problem is those coolant jacks were so corroded that they were just causing all kinds of issues. So I got my son recording, so showing us how all the bad stuff in that. So we're gonna clean that up and we're gonna replace the valve cover gaskets. Good to go.
Flex your muscle. Let me see it.
As we were finishing, we pulled off these rocker covers. My son noticed, I didn't even notice, but if you look at this side, you can see that these have really good oil on them. If we come over here and take you over to the driver's side, you see how dark those how like a dark red compared to those? I mean, that's a huge difference, and I think part of the reason is because there have been overfueling over there, because this whole side, the fuel spider was leaking on this whole side. So it could be what was causing those to turn red. Just kind of thought I'd point that out. I kind of look at them from here, you can kind of see how red those ones are compared to how these ones are normal. This side wasn't leaking at all. It was just that side. So, but I put a little rag in here. I'm just going to go ahead and pull these off, pull the intake manifolds out, and just clean these up and do my best to you know, fix this problem. But this is pretty bad. But anyway, we're gonna have fun cleaning it up. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. All right, this is what we found. If you look at the coolant jacks coming out of the head, they're really corroded, not good at all. If you look at the front ones, they're not so bad, but they're still pretty bad. These jacks right here are actually where the fuel comes into the cylinder head on both sides. So you got 3 for that side, 1, 2, 3, and 3 for this side. And what we found is by pulling this off, we found that the fuel spider was leaking in cylinder 1, cylinder 5, and cylinder 3. And if I look over here on this side, I can't actually see any lean mixtures over here. So that tells me that the other side was actually burning real rich. And so pulling the intake manifold off did 2 things for us. We're going to fix the problem with the coolant leak, but we're also going to be able to pinpoint exactly why the fuel spider was leaking and what cylinders were getting too much fuel. So it's a good thing that we went down and we tore it apart and got to this far. We're going to replace the valve cover gaskets. They're pretty straightforward. There's 3 10mm bolts. Those are pretty easy to replace. We might film that, we might not, but show you the last minute details of what we got here. I've got my kids here, they're making me laugh. So, but anyway, so that's what we got. We got it all tore apart. How long did it take, Mom? 6 hours?
Half the day, at least.
Maybe 6 hours. What do you think, Cameron? I can't really see your face, but I think it took me about 7 hours, maybe about 6 or 7 hours to get the intake manifold off, and then it took me approximately maybe about 5 hours to get the fuel spider out. So we're replacing both in the same shot. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll talk to you soon. The fuel spider, its leaking problem, it shows me what happened with the problem is that this is awful. I don't know where you're trying to. Oh, good. I already talked about that. Just look at me. So what we found is that the intake manifold gaskets were leaking. Stop smiling. Okay, the fuel spider was leaking and the intake manifolds are both leaking. Forget it.